Shootings, carjackings, murders, the headlines filling up our newscasts every day. But tonight, the city of Detroit is hosting a faith-based call to action forum on violence. It's going to include the Detroit Police Department, Detroit Homeland Security, the United States District Attorney's Office here in the Eastern District of Michigan, along with faith leaders.
And Andy Arena, Executive Director of the Detroit Crime Commission, will be at the Second Ebenezer Church tonight at 6 o'clock, along with Bishop Edgar Van, and both men join us right now from our downtown studio. Andy, Bishop Van, thank you very much. We'll start with you, Andy. It is quite a gathering here, maybe unprecedented, of law enforcement, faith-based, civic leaders.
It really is, and I think it shows the extent of the problem, Stephen. I think that everybody involved realizes you're not going to arrest your way out of this problem. I mean, Bishop and I were just talking, shootings are up all over the country, and Detroit is not facing problems that are not uncommon to any other urban city right now. We're not in this alone. And so, bringing to faith-based and community groups, law enforcement together to discuss, I think it's a great step forward.
Bishop Van, let's talk about the importance of having faith-based groups a part of this effort. What role do you play?
I think we play a great role because we actually touch the community every day, every week. And people who are in the community, who surround our institutions. But much further than that, it's the outreach tonight that's going to be so very, very important, along with community groups, along with block clubs, with CB patrols, with some of the groups inside of the churches and the community organizations, all coming together saying the violence has to stop, and we've got to find a way to come together collaboratively and build bridges that unite us instead of walls that divide us.
Now, what I thought was great was just before we came on the air, we were kind of watching on closed circuit as you got mic'd up, and just the two of you talking together like this, I think, opened some doors. And in fact, Bishop Van, you said that the lack of an urban agenda in America really is the root of so many of these problems.
Well, yes. I mean, there needs to be an urban agenda. We see now with all of the things that are happening in all of the cities, there is not the urban agenda that really addresses poverty and jobs, that kind of thing. Here in Detroit, with our mayor's office, with the Detroit Police Department and the improvements that are being made with the department, with the collaboration with people like Andy Arena and the U.S. Attorney's Office, I think we're making positive steps in a positive direction.
Give people an idea of what's going to take place at this forum tonight. Are solutions going to be offered up, or is this just to get ideas from people, or what is it going to look like?
Well, I think a little bit of both, Joanne. I think the Detroit Police Department will be there, the Department of Homeland Security, the Crime Commission will be there, but I think it's to hear from people as much as it is to give out our side of what's going on. So I think really this is kind of a beginning of a dialogue to make sure that the community groups, the faith-based groups, law enforcement, the city of Detroit are all on the same page, pulling in the right direction.
Now, both of you can answer this question here, because this seems to be a root of some of the crime problem we have in Detroit. We've talked about it here on the Now before. There's this no snitch policy, it seems, in the neighborhoods. When a crime happens, we may have 100 witnesses, but nobody saw anything. How do you fix that?
Well, I think you fix it by what we're doing tonight. I mean, I think that tonight helps us to build a bridge, again, that unites us instead of a wall that divides us, in terms of trust, in terms of communication, community collaboration. That's got to be there. I mean, the people have to trust the police have to serve the people, and it's a cooperative relationship that builds the kind of comfort that people need in order to be able to come forward.
Now, Andy says people have to be able to trust law enforcement. That's a tough trust these days in light of all these things that have been happening across the country over the last 6 months, a year.
Well, it is, Stephen, and I think that it's the dynamics of law enforcement. They've got to understand you're a public servant, you're not an occupying army. I think one of the things that Chief Craig does a very good job here in Detroit is, he gets that. He's a very dynamic, forward-thinking leader. And I think that trickles down throughout his department. But following up what Bishop Van said, I think there is a mistrust of law enforcement. The other thing is, there's a fear of getting killed yourself.
Right.
And you ran a story last week about the safeguard program that the Crime Commission runs. We've got to have a mechanism to protect these witnesses.
Of course, I know that is a worry. We have heard people say that before. So we want to thank both of you so much. Again, this is going on 6 o'clock tonight, Second Ebenezer Church at 6 o'clock. If the public wants to come, they are welcome tonight, right?
That's right.
All right.
Everybody's welcome.
Wonderful.
Details on our website. Bishop Van, Andy Arena, thank you both for your time, sir.